Section 24 of the Book of Divine Consolation of the Blessed Angela of Foligno. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Treatise II, Chapter 23. The greater the temptation, the greater must be likewise the perseverance in prayer. Watch and pray therefore, that thou givest no advantage unto the adversaries who continually surround thee. For when thou ceasest to pray, thou givest place unto the enemy. Therefore, the more thou art tempted, the more must thou persevere in prayer. Sometimes, however, prayer is the cause of thy being tempted, as when the demons do endeavor to hinder it. But take no heed of aught save of prayer, so that thou mayest always be worthy of being freed from temptation. For through prayer art thou enlightened, through prayer art thou set free from temptation. Through prayer art thou cleansed, and through prayer art thou united with God. Prayer is nothing else save the manifestation of God and of oneself. This manifestation is perfect and true humiliation, for humility consisteth in the soul beholding God and itself as it should. Then is the soul in a state of deep humility, and the deeper the humility, the greater is the divine grace, which springeth therefrom and increaseth there. The more the divine grace humbleth the soul, the more quickly doth this same grace increase and spring afresh out of the depths of that humility. And the more the grace increaseth, the more deeply doth the soul abase itself in true humility, through the continuance of true prayer. Thus do grace and light divine grow ever within the soul, and the soul is ever prostrate in true humility, duly reading and meditating upon this life of Christ. Man's perfection consisteth in knowing the greatness of God and his own nothingness. But how he attaineth unto this through gazing upon the book of life hath already been said. Therefore, O my son, cast away from thee all slothfulness and negligence. I certainly desire thee, O my son, and do exhort thee, that thou watchest and prayest no less, and dost no fewer good works when thou art deprived of the grace and fervor of devotion, than in times when thou obtainest that grace of devotion. Verily it is pleasing unto God if, in the fervor of grace, thou dost pray and watch, labor and perform other good works. In all ways pleasing and acceptable unto God, O my son, is thy sacrifice when, grace and fervor being withheld from thee, thou dost watch and pray, and do good works no less than when thou didst enjoy grace. Wherefore, my son, if the divine fervor and ardor doth sometimes constrain thee to watch, pray, and offer praise, do it with all thy might whilst the fire burneth within thee. When it so happeneth that God depriveth thee of warmth and fervor, whether because of thine own fault, as is most often the case, or whether by the augmenting and strengthening of grace in thee, thou must nevertheless watch, pray, and do good works as heretofore. And if temptation or tribulation, whereby the children of God are purged and punished, should fall upon thee and grace and fervor be withheld, do thou endeavor none the less to perform the aforesaid good works and strive that thou mayest overcome. Keep thyself in subjection by constant prayers, vigils, tears, and importunities, so that God in his mercy will at least give thee back thy warmth and fervor. Do thy part, for God will assuredly do his. Constant, ready, and insistent prayer is very acceptable unto God. Therefore do thou persevere in prayer, and concern not thyself with other occupations immediately when thou beginnest to feel more than commonly filled with God, and see that thou givest not thyself unto any occupation or thought before thou hast learnt to separate thyself from all others. Take heed likewise unto thy fervours and thy spirit, which rusheth forward eagerly before thou canst follow it. Inquire and see the beginning, middle, and end of the road it would take, and thou shalt follow it only so far as it keepeth unto the way of the book of life. And take heed of those who say they have the spirit of liberty, for they do openly oppose the book of the life of Christ, the which is written according to the law, he being the founder of the law, who liveth for ever and ever. Amen. End of section 24.